Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Peace and Love podcast. I'm your host, Siva. Thanks for joining us today. I'm here to talk about something that I think will really get to the root of whatever you're experiencing. I think about it a lot. Like, all my clients have very different backgrounds. They're completely different people, right? And they have different goals. They have different hallmarks of success. One person might be just getting more money. One person might be having a partner. One person might be having a better relationship with their spouse. Like, everyone's hallmarks and constellation of success is different. But the reason that coaching and coaching tools work across the board is because it's the same functions, it's the same mechanisms, just how you want them to be applied to. So the same mechanism that gets you unstuck in your love life is the same mechanism that gets you unstuck in your health. Today, what I want to look at is really one of the biggest reasons that people, are stuck in the same spot that they have been for their whole life. B, why when they try to make changes, nothing really happens. Maybe they get a new diet for a week, maybe they stick with it for 6 months, maybe even a year, but then eventually things go back to the old way. C, why even if there is external change or circumstances shift, things still just don't seem perfect. Things still aren't right, and you still feel unfulfilled. So I'm going to answer these 3 questions, and I'm going to answer the happy opposite. How can you make lasting change? How can you make the change effortlessly on the outside and stick with it long term? And also, when things do change, how you are going to feel fulfilled about it, right? So everything that I talk about is all related back to this one thing. And it doesn't matter if your goal is $100 in your business. It doesn't matter if it's $1 million. It doesn't matter if your goal is to find a penny on the street. Every single thing can be applied to this topic of shifting your identity. So let's get right into it. So when it comes to self-improvement, when it comes to coaching work, I'll just be honest. Changing your actions simply isn't enough. For example, health is a really good example. If you wanted to say, okay, I'm going to lose weight this year, for a while I'm going to go on a diet. It's like, okay, so what actions are you doing to shift your results, right? That's totally what that's in. But a completely different goal, although it might seem the same, it's completely different, is I'm going to be healthier, or I am healthy is an even better intention. The person who has a goal simply to lose weight, if they don't see themselves as that healthier version, it doesn't matter how much weightlifting they're doing, how much they're dieting. Even if they lose the weight, they're still not going to see themselves as attractive if that's the motivating force. If you're saying, okay, I need to lose weight in order to be attractive, in order to get the partner, in order to feel love, it doesn't really matter when you do get that partner. You're still not going to have the love because you're feeling a lack and you're expecting something external to fill the void. And that's even if you get to where you want to go. For most of people, they have this intention, okay, I think I would be loved more. They subconsciously think I would be loved more if I lost weight. So I'm going to challenge myself and go on this diet. The thing is, their short-term actions might reflect that result, but then long-term, they end up going to their old habits, overwatching TV and eating snacks, staying and sleeping late instead of getting and doing an exercise. Because at their identity, at their core, they don't see themselves as that person. They don't feel like the person that gets up at 6 a.m. to go do a run. They don't feel like the person that feels sexy when they get on in a dress. They don't feel like that's who they are. And the inside, they're identified with being upset about their weight. They're identified with feeling lack. They're identified at a level with the lack that they feel and attached in a way to it because of that. Maybe someone when they were younger said, oh, you're so ugly, no one's going to love you. And that story is like playing on repeat over and over in their mind. So in order to shift the results here, simply, okay, not eating processed foods, how is that gonna help? How is that gonna help? It's not going to. So you can change everything about your circumstances. You can change what you're doing, what you're acting like, where you are. People try that too. They try to move, and like that will help something. You can change these external circumstances, but until you change who you are on the inside, what you are being, nothing's going to shift. And in a way that's meaningful, at least. You might experience shifts on the outside, but it's not going to get you closer to where you truly want to be. Because if you think about it, goals are never the goal that you think you have. Even if your goal is very logistical. Okay, I want to make $100,000 a year. What is that about? 100,000 is a number. Why? Why 100,000? What is that going to get? Okay, well, then if I had 100,000, I'd be able to feel like I could go shopping anytime I wanted to, and I could, fly out to XYZ place and do XYZ thing. Okay, well, what would happen if you could do XYZ thing? Well, then I would feel really relaxed. Then I'd feel really free. So even if things are shifting on the external world, if, say you move, if you're not getting deeper into the real why, your real reason that you want what you say you want, it's not going to feel fulfilling. Going back to that example of the weight loss thing, I can't tell you how common I think this is. People lose the weight and they realize once they've lost the weight, oh, that really didn't do anything for me. Yeah, I have a different body, but I'm still not, having men just appear out of the wazoo. It's not a magic pill. And so when you start shifting your identity, who you're being, that's when you start getting closer to the meaningful results. That's when, okay, I no longer put importance on how my body looks because I feel worthy from the inside. I no longer need my bank account to even be on XYZ because I feel free, I feel relaxed. And maybe that is still a goal. A lot of the times when you shift your identity to a new place, you don't even feel that strong desire for the goal anymore. You fall in love with the journey. You fall in love with how you feel. But even if it does still happen to be a goal, it makes it a whole lot easier for you to get it because you're in alignment with it now. You aren't wishing for it. You aren't wanting it. You have it. Instead of watching people play baseball, you're on the freaking field and you're playing in the game of life. So if that's been you, if you're just like, I'm trying so hard to get to my goal, I'm trying harder and harder, I'm trying to be more disciplined, I'm trying to have more devotion, I'm trying. I've tried waking up at sunrise. I've tried going to sleep at sunset. I've tried eating only fruit. I've tried not watching any TV. I've tried exercising. I've tried a long list of things. Energy work. I've tried hopping on one foot. I've tried jump roping. I've tried running. And you still don't feel like you're getting closer to that goal. It's because on the inside, your internal world, your internal identity, who you think you are, hasn't shifted at all. And so when you shift who the fuck you think you are, you're doing so much more work with so much less effort. You're not out there having to try and prove to everyone and really yourself who you say that you are. You feel it, you know it, you experience it. And so when you know who you are and when who you think you are is in alignment with who you want to be, it makes it easy to see progress because you're making the decisions from that preferred version of yourself. You already are that person. And so it's not overwhelming to you anymore. At a subconscious level, a lot of the times people block being who they want to be because it's overwhelming. And I'll get into why, this happens and how it can actually be beneficial, but think about it. You don't want something that you don't think you can handle. When you are that person and you're embodied as your higher self, your preferred reality, you will finally be able to handle the responsibility that you so want. And this is kind of one of those like double-edged sword things. For example, when you ask for an abundance of money, if it's in your belief system that money is stressful, you might have to become someone completely different in order for you to be able to handle the responsibility, be able to handle the frequency, and be able to do all the things that it takes to be the person that you want to be. And it's not just an action thing. You would have to completely change who you think you are to be able to make it happen. The people who have high pressure jobs, when a challenge comes, they don't freak out, lose their minds, and say, okay, no, this has never happened before. We don't know what to do. They think of themselves as someone who is a problem solver. They think of themselves as leading edge people who, on a dime, can come up with the solution. If you want to be in a position that's completely different to what you're experiencing now, you have to be able to hold that frequency to be able to experience what you want to experience and not let it, freak you out or just like not feel good. It won't be what you want it to be if it's overwhelming. So these people who have these high pressure jobs or high stake environments, they already see themselves as someone who has the solution. So they aren't wasting hours and time like thinking, okay, can I do it? Is it possible? That's my example to show you. You have to be able to see yourself as someone in order to be able to just live in that lifestyle, live in that experience. It doesn't matter what you're doing. There's going to be moments where you're not sure about the outcome. And maybe a better, more normal example would be like in dating. You have to know that you're the person that gets what they want. You have to know that you're the person that is confident, outgoing, smart, and abundant in the people that you want to attract. Because if you weren't that person, you would accept the first random guy or girl that comes your way. You have to be able to know that I'm the person that can say no to things that don't serve me. I'm the person that feels confident even when someone might be a little rude to me. And if you don't know that you're that person, it makes saying no when you want to say no really hard, and it makes saying yes when you want to say yes really hard. Since behavior follows identity, it makes it really hard for you to act as if you are that person in every single area if you're just not identified with that. And this goes beyond even what I can eloquently explain. Your subconscious is so powerful. You are the highest technology that we have on the planet. I mean, it would take literally rooms and rooms and rooms of supercomputers to be able to have the computing process that your brain has. You are this magnificent art co-creator that literally creates every single second, every single minute, every single hour in your whole life. If you seriously, if you see yourself for example, in dating, as that person that always ends up abandoned, that always ends up getting screwed over, and you really hold this in mind at a subconscious or maybe even conscious level, of course that's what you're going to create. And it works the other way around too. If you really see yourself as somebody who is just so charming, just so magnanimous, just so loving to anybody, of course that's what's going to happen. And so it becomes this thing of like, okay, whatever you are identified with, it doesn't matter what the hell you're doing. Your subconscious is going to find a way to create it. It's this supercomputer of like literally imagine yourself even more advanced than AI. Imagine that you are more advanced than AI because you are. Of course, you are going to find a way to create whatever you're holding in mind. Imagine asking ChatGPT, send me a picture of a blue flower. And you'd be surprised it sends you a picture of a blue flower. Like, you are the commander. You are giving yourself prompts every single day. So don't be surprised at what it spits out. You have to be so diligent and intentional about what you are creating, because, like I said, you are the most advanced technology on the planet. And see yourself as that way, and know that everything that you're putting in there is going to come out somehow. So our challenge now is embodying the person that we want to be on every single level, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. How can we show up as this person? And I know that a lot of people create a separate identity completely, and they just start living as this separate identity. So for me, this is Siva's soul. This is how you're finding me. My @ is Siva's soul and everything. But, it's even deeper. It's like, it's my soul, Siva's soul. So like, I ask, okay, what would Siva's soul do? What would Siva's soul say? And when I ask, what would my soul do? What would my soul say? It surpasses my intentions consciously, or my programming, I'll say, my negative programming, or even my positive programming. And it surpasses what other people might expect. And it speaks exactly from truth. It speaks from my highest self. I need this amount of clarity that's impersonal at a level. And so I can act from a space that truly feels in alignment with my higher self. Some people create a completely different idea of someone, completely. It'd be like saying, okay, Rebecca, she's a badass. She doesn't take anything from anybody. She does her thing. She does her hair. She does her eyelashes. She does the whole thing. And she shows up in the room. Everybody notices her. And she is just uniquely her. She doesn't give a F what anyone has to say. And so they ask themselves, okay, in this situation, what would Rebecca do? What would Rebecca do? And so you start asking yourself, okay, who do I want to create? And who do I want to show up as? And then ask yourself, okay, what would that version of me do? What would that version of me say? You could even go far with it. Okay, what does Rebecca wear? What does Rebecca smell like? What does Rebecca say to herself when she gets up in the morning? What does Rebecca think about at night? What does Rebecca dream about? What scares Rebecca? What turns Rebecca on? What turns Rebecca off? What is life like when you look through the eyes of Rebecca? And when you start showing up as Rebecca in every single way, of course you're going to attract the similar experiences that quote unquote Rebecca, who's actually an aspect of you, experiences. And so when you start showing up as that character that you've created over and over and over and over and over again, all of a sudden you are Rebecca. And so you might be saying, okay, well, isn't this inauthentic? Isn't this kind of just like making somebody up and making up stuff? Here's the thing. Your personality is all made up. Your personality is a conglomerate of traits that you have put together because you think it will keep you safe. And we start building our personality in childhood. We figure out what gets applause from parents, what gets me the love, what makes my friends laugh, what makes people really mad, what are the circumstances where I said something and I almost got in a fight, what are the circumstances that really humiliated me. And so we create this matrix because our brain is so advanced, right? It creates this matrix of this is where I go, this is where I don't go. And there's that line. That line is your comfort zone. And anything outside of your comfort zone, it gets scary because you're subconsciously thinking, oh no, if I go over this line, I literally might die. I went over this line when I was in kindergarten and I got booed on stage. And it was the most humiliating thing. I thought I was going to die in the moment. I never even processed it. We can't go over that line. I can never public speak again. And so it creates all these rules and rituals that you have to live by just to stay on par with this personality that you've created. And from my own experience, there's a level of consciousness where it gets to a point where you don't have a personality. You just realize that you are, period. And so when you learn experientially, like I did, that your personality is just kind of made up, it gives you the flexibility to know, okay, that I can change at any point in time, because everything that I'm doing right now is just assuming characteristics that fit into a certain frequency. So if I wanted to change my frequency, I could create the circumstances and the characteristics of that certain frequency. Just how you would know how to dress up and play as a president, or play as a homeless person, or play as a basketball star, or play as a teacher. It's not just about the costume, it's about their movements. Like think about it. If you were going to cosplay, or I told you to act as a homeless person, like walk like them, talk like them, think like them, you would kind of have an idea of how to do this. If I told you, okay, walk and talk like a teacher, or walk and talk like a CEO, it's a completely different frequency. It's a completely different body feeling. It's a completely different costume too. It's completely different thoughts. It's completely different everything. And this is what I'm talking about with, it's like different things fit in different frequencies. And so what's up to you is, how do you want to show up? How do you want to live your life as? There's no wrong. There's no better of a CEO than a homeless person. They both have equal value. They are both children of the Most High. They are both immeasurably valued by Source. But none of that really matters. What matters is, what do they want to do? Who knows? We do not have the ability to judge. Someone might want, as a soul, the experience of not having any money. I don't know. They might know. That's between them and their source, right? But for you, you know what you want. You know inside of your heart, regardless of any fears that you might have, regardless of any but ifs, but regardless of any doubts, you know that there's something on your heart, that something you're really interested in. It was that thing when you were little where you were like, I'm going to do this when I grow up. It was that thing that you're like, wow, I would love to spend my whole day doing this, but it doesn't make any money. It was that thing that you spent hours on, and you were like, I could do this my whole life. I could do this my whole lifetime. You know what lights you up. You know not only what lights you up, but who you want to show up as. You know the qualities that you see in other people, and you're like, wow, hard eyes. I'm so obsessed with this. I'm so in love with this. Surprise! The reason that you like that is because it's a reflection of you. You know how you want to show up as. And so the question stops being, okay, well, what have I been, or what do I need to do? But like, who do I need to be in order to live that version of myself? In a sense, it's good that all of the things that you want haven't manifested yet, because if it did, there comes a lot with that. With your belief systems and your personality, you create this matrix, right? And your current self might say, if you make a lot of money, you lose all your friends. And so you might subconsciously resist making money because you'd lose all your friends. And then if you got all the money, guess what would happen? You would suddenly lose all of your friends. And so the gap in manifestation is really to serve you so that you have the opportunity to cherry pick beliefs and to decide, okay, well, how do I want this to be? Because like I said, your computer, your supercomputer that is running at all times, is going to make whatever the hell you put in there happen. So if you did put in there, okay, if you make a lot of money, you lose all your friends, and then you somehow achieve the money thing, well, guess what's going to happen, because your supercomputer is operating. So circling back to shifting identity, the first question is, who do you want to show up as? We talked about Rebecca, we talked about the soul, we talked about my experiences, but what do you want to show up as? You need to get pretty clear on this. What does that person think like? What does that person look like we talked about before? And the clearer you are on, okay, what does the ideal, amazing person look like? You know that there's a spark there for you. Like we mentioned, there's no good or there's no bad. It's all about you and your soul's journey and following your soul's path. When you change who you are at the identity level, it saves you from a lot of the problems that come with manifesting things that you aren't ready for. Because if you manifested something and you couldn't handle it, like the example of losing your friends, but more importantly, if you manifested 100 clients and you really don't have the mental capacity or the belief in yourself for 100 clients, that's a really big problem. And so now you have all these clients, but you don't believe, because you haven't changed your identity, that you can keep up with them. And so you lose your 100 clients, or you know, XYZ. So changing your image of who you are is going to be the best thing that you can do before you even have success. And when you change your mental image before you have success, it makes success inevitable. Back to the supercomputer. I'm going to keep reminding you of the supercomputer, because when your mental image says, I am this, I am that, it starts to create it, just like your reticular activating system. Like if you ever seen a new car and you're like, oh, I like that car, I haven't seen it before, then all of a sudden you see that car everywhere. It's because you're creating those neural pathways. You're creating the awareness from a frequency thing and from an energy thing. You are aligning with it. You are attracting it, right? So if you want to show up, if you want to be a certain way, if you want to have certain results, the number one question that you can ask yourself on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis is, who do I need to be in order to XYZ? If it was 100 clients, who do I need to be in order to hold 100 clients comfortably? Who do I need to be to attract quality men effortlessly? Who do I need to be in order to have friends that support and uplift me? Who do I need to be in order to have a fruitful relationship with my partner? Who do I need to be in order to fill in the blank? When you start asking yourself that, you'll start to notice, okay, this is where I can improve. Okay, this is where I can dial it up. This is how other people before me have done it. And you'll start to attract people who are already living that way. You'll see how they do it. And this is so important. If you want to see, if you want to live a certain result, right, you need to get in touch with people who are living it. You need to talk to people and see examples that, okay, they are doing it. They're successful. They have 1 million customers. They have that quality boyfriend, girlfriend. They have exactly what I want, exactly how I want it, and they're well off in all areas of life. This is proof. The more proof that you give yourself that it's not only possible, but it's feasible, they did it, I could do it too. And it just reinforces it and reinforces it. So if you come up with that answer, who do I need to be? Start getting in tune with that. Okay, if I need to be that woman that wears high heels in order to reach my hallmark of success, okay, let's start looking at women who wear high heels a lot. How do they do it comfortably? What heels are they wearing? What outfits do they have? If I need to be that person who is super calm, let's hang out with super calm people. Get it by osmosis. If you want to be successful, hang out with super successful people. This is an energetic transfer. And even popular self-help books note this phenomena. It's called getting it by osmosis. If you hang out with people who exhibit certain qualities, they will start to rub off on you. And that's for good qualities, that's for bad qualities. Who are the 5 people that you hang out the most with? And that's going to be your result, right? So if you are saying, okay, I need to show up in this way, that way, and this way, start getting yourself there. Bridge that gap to who you are today and to who you want to be. The thing is, you already within yourself have full capacity to attract, be, have, do anything that your heart's desire. If you can even think about it, if you can even imagine it, And the stronger that you can imagine it, the more likely it is. The fact that you can even think about it means that it's in your direct vicinity, experience-wise. If you can think about it and you can really feel it, it really means that it's just an arm's reach away, and it's just a simple mental shift away. You just have to know how to shift ever so slightly. It's like that example of the sail, right? If you change the angle of the sail just even slightly, it's going to get you to a different place completely, right? After a long period of time. So with that being said, know that anything that you see someone else do, you have the full capacity to do. Anything that you can imagine, you have the full capacity to do. We are all children of the Most High. We all have intrinsic value. Even if you don't believe it, you are value just for who you are, not for what you do, not for what you say, not for what you have, not for what you think about, but who you are at a core level. And there's nothing that you cannot overcome or do, because our source, whatever you want to call it, our God, our universe, is so grand, is so magnificent, is so abundant, is so infinite, that there is absolutely endless possibilities. If you can think about it, you can achieve it. And even thinking that, oh, I can't do it, is blasphemy, because you see the abundance and the grandness that exists. Why should that not show up in full effect for you? Why should that be cut off from you? That's cutting off abundance. That's cutting off the universe. That's cutting off God. So I just want you to step back for a second and see the incredible universe that we do live in, that is infinite, that is grand, the abundance of trees, the abundance of grass, the abundance of oxygen, the abundance of anything that you could possibly think of, and allow yourself to think big. If you really had no limits, who would you show up as? If you really had no limits, what type of person would you be? What kind of things would you do and then have from that? But most importantly, what would you believe is possible for yourself? So with that being said, really take time to think about it. Don't believe me. Don't take my word for it. Try it yourself and think about the amazing possibilities for your life, because all it takes is you energizing it with your supercomputer brain up there, and you'll have it like that. So I see you, I love you, I appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. If you would like to follow my socials, my Instagram, I'm at CivaSoul. I'm putting effort into my Instagram, so I would appreciate it if you show up for me. And it really does help me if you like, comment, subscribe, do all the things. You know what to do if that resonates. And I so appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time. I'm so grateful. And if you want to learn to shift your identity and just really get into your supercomputer and kind of move things around like I do with my clients, and so you can get super good results and start attracting results in the next 12 weeks, reach out to me, comment or DM me a line, and we will get working together. I also have a link in my bio on my socials if you'd like to click that and just fill it out. So yes, I see you. I appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time. Mwah!